Hey guys, it's been a while since I did one of these, but anyway, okay. So I was listening to a podcast this morning while I was out picking up Neo 2, and Boa Ray had a good point. This is from the Busted Open Radio show, and he made a good point. He says that a majority of WWF slash E people are far more memorable from the 80s and 90s, and you still know them now. And they were made to be stars back then, but people nowadays, horrible. WWE current stars, they're so forgettable. If you we all know Eddie Guerrero because he was outlandish, JBL because he was outlandish, he pushed the buttons. We know those people, but does anybody really remember Billy and Chuck? Maybe for the gay thing, but what did they do with the gay thing? They had a wedding and their bishop was involved, but that's about it. They remember like 3 minute warning, maybe, but that's stretching it. You made Santino Maddaletta a star because he was a goofball. You can't forget that. I think 20 years from now, people will still remember our truth, and that's saying something. I think people will remember 20 years down the line, maybe Drew McIntyre, but I think more people will know our truth. And he made a very good point, Bubba Ray did. He said that in the past, that the golden era of the WWF at the time, think about who you still remember now. And do you think like Ricochet at this current point is worthy of the WWE Hall of Fame? You think they're going to put him in there? No, of course not. Apollo Crews, they're going to put him in there? No, of course not. You think they're going to put in the Heavy Machinery? You think they're going to put in fucking like Street Profits? No, they're not. But like, if you look at back in the day, like the B players in the WWF, the never main eventers, like that is shine, but like they were never main eventers. You still remember them from back then, all those years later. People like Greg the Hammer Valentine, people like Bastion Booger of all people like Henry Godwin, people like the Junkyard Dog JYD, people like Jake the Snake Roberts. He's in AEW right now. They still want him. You think AEW, if it's still around 20 years, is going to want Lana? Of course not. There's a serious, serious issue when it comes to WWE currently making their stars memorable, and they do it intentionally. You know that, right? There's no way that someone hype and creative said, we're going to push Ricochet to getting squashed at the Saudi show and then get squashed again by the 24/7, the lowest belt in the company, back to back. And that's going to get Ricochet over. Nobody in creative said that's a good idea for Ricochet. This will get him over to the next level. Not having good promos, not having good feuds. To get Ricochet over, their big idea was to have him get squashed by the main guy and then the lowest of main guys back to back. And that'll be interesting. And by the way, I think I remember he wasn't on TV, et cetera, et cetera. Weeks after that when he was on main event. I know Ricochet can't wait to get up his contract. I know he can't wait. I mean, like, look at the cruiserweight division in WWE. Tony Nese, the Brian Kendrick. They've been on 205 Live for 4 years now, since the Cruiserweight Classic. 4 years. And the biggest thing, they gave Akira Tozawa, the Japanese guy, they make him a ninja. That was their big idea, to call up Akira Tozawa and make him a mainstay on the main roster and have him barely say anything He's just a random ninja. He used to have a squad, but they took that away in a couple of weeks. Probably couldn't afford it. So their big idea for Akira Tozawa, after all that time, was to make him a ninja who barely shows up and is barely part of anything. That's their idea of getting him over. Jesus Christ. Pac was a good idea. Pac was good. I'll give you that one. But Pac took his ball and went to AEW. As soon as a guy who talks better than Pac came along, aka Enzo, they gave that guy the strap. So let's go back with the WWF era stuff there. Doink the Clown, you still remember him. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, you still remember him. Of course, we got Macho Man. Of course, we got Superfly Jimmy Snuka, the Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Miss Elizabeth of all people. Even Missy Hyatt is more memorable than people nowadays. The oddities in the edited era, the oddities. Everyone brought to the beta show. Everyone come, but yeah, it was good shit. Yeah, it was just, everyone was having a good time. It's kind of sad that APA, a group of guys who just beats people up and drinks beer. That's the gimmick. They are more memorable than most of the people now. I mean, like, that's all they did was drink and beat people up. That's all they did. And people still remember them more then as now. They had more edge back then. There were more people around or whatever, but they had more edge to them. Mark Henry was cool, but who are they making now? Seth Rollins was a made man automatically with the Shield. Dean Ambrose left because he wasn't being treated right. And Roman Reigns, he's always going to be the guy because, well, I think we all know why. If you smell what I'm cooking. So, like, they're not making names. Sasha, when I first saw Sasha, it's the same thing I thought for Charlotte. She's going to be huge. Just look at her. If she looks just like that and she's on the main roster, she's going to be huge. Same thing with Charlotte. I just looked at her and knew. Becky Lynch, I thought she was going to be cut. Because, like, she's too average looking. Sasha's not average, neither is Charlotte. I thought she was going to be cut. And lo and behold, Becky was going to be cut. I didn't hear anything about Mercedes, aka Sasha, being close to being cut. I heard about Becky being close. I can tell. I was like looking at her like, oh boy, she better get some shit going on. And there was a weird thing that he said as well. He said that the three big moments in WWE, I think F at the time. No, there was one from E. 3 big moments in the WWF/E, and they were all accidents, but they happened to be the biggest, most important things in the company. 3 accidents. The Becky Lynch broken nose to Nia Jax, that was an accident. The blood thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, who was the sharpshooter, they weren't supposed to bleed in that match, but they did, and it made it better. Iconic. And of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin's 316 piece, and that happened because certain people weren't like there for the speech, and that was all improvised by Stone Cold. So those were all accidents. That was not by design. They happened to get over, and the company's like, oh shit, we didn't do it. So like, it's quite unusual that WWE keeps on trying to fight the grain, and they keep on making the product of basically about 3 people: Roman, Drew. Well, Seth is gone, and I guess they got to look at somebody else now. It's not gonna be Buddy Murphy. Get out of here. It's not gonna be him. So like those 2 guys. Randy Orton is like transitional champion. That championship run shouldn't even count because he didn't defend it. If you don't defend your belt, you're not a champion. That's my sense on everything. If you didn't defend your belt, you're not a champion. You're keeping the belt warm for the next guy, you're not a real champion. No. So, like, they aren't making new stars at anybody. Do you see Tucker being the main guy? Fuck out of here with that shit. Fuck out of here. You think Tucker's gonna last like 10 years, 20 years? Yeah, right, sure. Who else is on the fucking roster? Uh, Angel Garza. You think him talking to the camera and like say, "Here, take a rose," that's gonna get him over? Yeah, it'll get him over. My remote control over, and then I change channels. I don't care. What are you doing? He's talking to the camera. Who cares? Um, Andrade's missing because of Vega, obviously. Aleister Black. He's an appointless. He was an appointless feud until he magically disappeared. Kevin Owens. Haven't seen him in anything relevant in a while. Sami Zayn's always whining, complaining. That's a good personality, right there. Whining, complaining. Never seen that before. Whining, complaining is about as rare as a female WWE superstar being a diva. I'm better than you. Sasha, Carmella, Bayley, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler. I'm better than you. Same personality. I'm better than you. Even Asuka has that as in there. I'm going to beat you. Same shit. Like, yeah, I'm better than you. Yeah, same old shit there. Yeah, so they have like two personalities in there in WWE. That's why the Alexa Bliss thing was pretty cool because like it's not I'm better than you. It's just like a messenger for the Fiend, which is something different. Nikki Cross trying to get a friend back. That's different. That's cool. That's fine. But I'm better than you. Oh God, give me a break. Forever. They do that shit forever. I'm better than you. Get out of here. There's no one else really on the roster that's going to be anything in 20 years down the line. It's just not going to happen. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head there who's going to be like a big thing in 20 years. Even The Miz. Miz is going to be known as a good promo, but no feuds, no real connection fans. Roddy Piper, he had great promos that everybody still remembers. He had a cool kilt. He was in some good feuds with Goldust and Mr. T. He was in some good ass stuff. And then you look at JYD and all his feuds there, and his gimmick with the dog collar, with his beefcake with the scissors. The Rock is coming down there with the tassels and having a good time. Ultimate Warrior running on the ring there. Oh yeah, you remember that stuff forever. What do you remember now? Keith Lee boringly walking to the ring with his generic ass music that he never changed. He's never going to change, by the way. What's so unique and special about that one? I remember distinctly when I was a kid, the main thing, one of the main things that drew me to WWF at the time was the cool music. Because like it's like Slim Pickens back then in the I guess like the early 90s. It's Slim Pickens. It's Slim Pickens. So like having cool music, like that's a plus. Now they don't care having cool music. Seth Rollins has cool music. Owens is but like it's not nearly as cool as the music back then. You're not going to compare today's music, today's themes to the 80s, 90s themes. It's not going to fucking happen. There's no way you're going to tell me anybody on the main roster has better music than the 80s and 90s people at all. You can't. You will not. You're not going to compare Real American, Macho Man's graduation theme, freaking Brutus Bar Beefcake's theme. You're not going to compare that to what? Bobby Lashley's theme? The Hurt Business? Retribution? Please. Sammy had some cool music, but guess what? They're gone. The best current theme with like a really cool beat, besides The Fiend, was the Bludgeon Brothers. That was the coolest one. And they did nothing with them. They did nothing with the Bludgeon Brothers. They had one of the coolest themes out there that will never be used again, and they were gone. And WWF at the time had way better, cooler music. Like Ultimate Warrior, Ravishing Rick Rude, Jake the Snake Roberts, Stone Cold Steve Austin, of course, back then. If you smell what The Rock is cooking, I mean, like, come on. And then you get now, like, Randy Orton's music is but like you're not gonna get me to watch TV hearing Ruby Riot's theme or Natalia's theme. No, it's not gonna happen. The cool things are gone. The personality's gone. They sacked the energy, the personality out of the commentators, the interviewers backstage. They sacked the energy out of them. I remember watching WWF at the time, not only for the commentators, Bobby the Brain Heenan and Grim Monsoon. I also watched for Mean Gene Okerlund because his smart ass responses intrigued me to the wrestlers. It intrigued me. Now you get nothing. You get the exact same questions and the exact same look for every single backstage interviewer. It's the exact same thing. It's boring. I don't watch. I don't care. I barely watch any wrestling on WWE anymore because they don't try to make anything look cool anymore. The backstage segments, I just skip to the part when the main guy talks because that's all they care about, right? That's all they care. They want you to not care about anything else and only concentrate on the superstar instead of the entire product as a whole, like they used to. They want you to only concentrate on the superstars. That's it. They don't care about how the other person makes the other superstar look good for bouncing up and then back and forth. Like if Mean Gene said something like a smart ass comment, you can damn sure that Hulk was going to say something back to him, and it would be very interesting to see how where it goes from there. See, but now they don't give a fuck. They're so by the book, cliche, boring in WWE. Even in AEW, it's like the same thing over there. I'm like, yeah, I like when the Young Bucks kick backstage interviews. That was kind of cool, but like, I could go to AEW as well. In AEW, you can definitely see who's going to be like important in the company. You can tell Eddie Kingston's going to be important for a long time. Pac is going to be important for a long time. I'm actually very, very disappointed in AEW, honestly. The women's division is horrendous. I can't, listen to me. I can't believe that Impact Wrestling finds time to make 5 or even 7 good women's angles out of a legit 1 hour show. 1 hour. That includes a half hour of the repeats from TNA Past. Out of a 1 hour legit show, 7 different women angles every week. And we can't get one that makes sense on AEW. Not one. Not a single one. If they don't have a backstage promo, you can guarantee the match itself there has some sort of wrinkle into it. Some sort of like, I don't care about this, or you need to help me, or like, I'm scared of this person. There's some intrigue in the match in Impact. There's something going on there. But in AEW, it's literally just a match and they win. That is literally the same shit that fans were pissed off about in the Ruthless Aggression. What was this fucking era? About 6 years ago, the Diva era, whatever you want to call it. That's literally the same thing. That's literally the same thing. Like people complain about like them just having like a quick match and then go about your day. That's exactly what AEW is doing. No build up, no intrigue in the match, and then no follow up after the match either. They are just having a match and calling it a day. That is literally the laziest thing. I don't want to say it. I don't think anybody's going to say it here, but there could be a small, tiny chance, a very tiny chance, that the reason why AEW's women's division is so horrible is because I'm going to say it here. Is because Tony Khan, I don't know who's connected to him. It could be his Indian roots. In case you don't know, in India, women are way down there, way lower on earth than any other country. They can't show their face. They can only show their eyes. They're low on the totem pole. They can't drive. They're not allowed to talk. They're nothing. Burkas everywhere. Maybe Tony Khan has that kind of mindset. Maybe he has that kind of mindset. And he doesn't want to put a spotlight on the women because in his country, don't put a spotlight on them. It could be that way. It could be that way. But I see some things going on with that giant girl or whatever, and Brandy Rhodes there. Let's see how long that lasts because we all know how the Nightmare Collective lasts. The Nightmare faction, whatever the thing was with Brandy. Let's see how long that lasts. If it lasts more than a month, I'll be surprised. See, the thing, they need to add more wrinkles into the storyline other than that. I thought it was really disgusting this week when the Giant Girl had Brandy backstage, and it literally just cut to the backstage, and all of a sudden the Giant Girl was on Brandy's arm with a chair. We didn't see how it got set up there. We didn't see the fruits of the labor. We literally just saw her foot on a chair, and it gets stomped. Whatever. No build up, no reason. It just happened. They really don't care over there. They really don't give a fuck about cause and effect over there in AEW when it comes to women's division. They don't care. They really don't give a fuck. And with SmackDown this week, this is what I mean. Okay, so Natty's gonna have a match with Tamina. Now, old WWE ways would be like just have Natty come out for a match against Tamina and it qualifies. That's all you say. But SmackDown went the extra mile and had Otis uh, qualify for the men's Money in the Bank for some reason, and then all of a sudden Natty overhears it and say, "I want a chance." And then the Adam Pearce says, "Okay, you got your chance, go for it." They could have not had that, and Natty had a match with Tamina, and everyone would have been like, same old stuff there, nobody cares. But they put the time into giving Natty a promo backstage and setting up a match. AEW doesn't do that. They don't think like that. Oh shit. Message. Yeah, I gotta go. All right, clack off.